Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are joining me tonight or this morning. It is Mayegun live. You can always start your morning like this, listening to Mayegun the gist. And if you have free time, you can also call in. It is an open mic too. You should just read the caption, read the description, share it, like it. That's all you have to do. Good morning to you. Southern governors of Nigeria, they met in Abeokuta and they had some resolutions. So the northwest governors currently, they are currently organizing a 3-day security meeting over bandit. Somebody said, if you want to end insecurity in Nigeria, walk into those rooms where these guys were having those meetings and put handcuffs on every living soul in that room. You see how terrorism would disappear in Nigeria and many other things. In fact, some Nigeria problems. Share this, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends and tell them, Mayegun today. If Numbu doesn't give a damn about us, the North re-echoes this again. They said he was invited to this Northeast security meeting, but he sent shitty man. They are not happy. So today, thank you so much for joining me. And please remember, you need to get yourself in tune into what we are actually talking about, okay? So that will help a lot. I have a few stops for us today, and they can be, as usual, the brunch time with Mayegun. This could just be an appetizer, or it is an appetizer. Sometimes it comes so loaded, so enriched, that you could barely tell the difference between the brunch time and the prime time. However, let's start from what is going on in Kenya. Okay, so we can start from Kenya, then end up in Kasina, then Abeokuta, and then a few places like that. Today as well is the D-Day in Kenya. June the 25th, 2024 is the D-Day where the protesters in Kenya, the Gen Z, actually marked as the day they call the day of a showdown. Now, today is the day they expect the parliament to announce the passage of the controversial finance bill of 2024, and the president of their country will sign it. Now, it's been smoky, sweaty, it's been bloody too. But the half part of the day, I have captured part of that, and I will share that with you. So, this morning, or prior to this, the president of Kenya, Ruto, who said he was going to start negotiating with the protesting Kenyans. But that's not what he did. Immediately after that speech, Kenyans said they didn't trust him. He's never going to change anything. Indeed, the government of Kenya, on the order of Ruto, they mobilized their military. They mobilized their secret police as well. They have their own DSS in Kenya too. Okay? And those secret police have been picking people up from their homes, okay, to make sure that maybe they won't be able to organize, mobilize, and assemble today. So some others, right, have been kidnapped just on the road, or even during the protest in the last few days, they have been kept away. And they've mobilized their military to not just use canisters anymore. I'm talking about don't use tear gas anymore. They are actually using live ammunitions today. Some of the videos are really gory, so I didn't bring those. I brought in the energy, the coordination, and the protest. I mean, the protest is no longer just in Kenya. I mean, sorry, in Nairobi, Mombasa. Is it called Mombasa? Mombasa. And so many other suburbs like that across the country. Politicians who are like state governors in Kenya, they have been threatening protesters that their state, nobody should protest, like typical of Nigeria. But there is something significant here. They have been shot, they have been killed, they have been threatened, harassed. But do you know something? They have not backed down. And today is going to determine if all of that effort, all of that protest, all these days, the past 1 or 2 weeks, if it's going to be meaningful, if it's going to actually change anything, that will be today. So the first part of today is what I'm going to share with you first. Then later tonight, we will see how it all goes down. So let's go to Kenya this morning. Remember, I have to put together a lot of pieces of clips together to make this long watch, okay? So the first one was what happened last night when their secret police went into the homes of the suspected organizers of the protest. They were picking them up from their homes. Here is one of them from the start of this video. And then you see all other stuff that happened, including the mobilization this morning.
Eh. Muziki saa 8 ukiwa tao. Koloni. Ele noma aí. Ele noma aí.
I told you it's a long watch. I've got like about 1 hour collection of videos of what is going on in Kenya. Tonight is going to really be more steamier because things are becoming more hotter and hotter. Right now in Kenya, it's sometimes around past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's getting steamier and steamier. They have already approached the parliament where all the lawmakers are, and the security guys have started shooting live rounds of ammunition. In fact, there were already bodies lying on the streets in front of the parliament in Kenya as we speak. There is video where they are picking bodies. Obama's aunt, I think, Obama's sister also appeared there on a CNN video. He appeared in a CNN video where she was right there rubbing her eyes because she just got shot tear gas too. So it's becoming steamier and steamier. There is this young man that kind of has a message, not just for the rulers of Kenya, but for all Africa generally, okay? But primarily for the government of Kenya, the supposed owners of Kenya, that they are toying with something that they do not fully understand. And if they check their history, generally as Kenyans, I will let you listen. Listen to this.
Hello again. So I saw a TikTok video that was shared in one of our groups by a work colleague about this young guy who's talking about Eldoret being from Eldoret and Eldoret being his business. God damn it. I mean,
God damn it. We are coming for you. We are coming for you guys.
It was very entertaining to watch, but that video is so rich in terms of the kind of description of where we are as a country, and it got me thinking once again. So I'm going to use a couple of expressions and metaphors to kind of clarify what it is that I mean. And if I'm reaching, tell me I'm reaching. It's fine. I don't mind being told if I'm not. So using Michaela Wrong's, the title of Michaela Wrong's book, It's Our Turn to Eat, I'm going to try and divide the various eras that we've had in this country by that expression. So we start with Jomo Kenyatta. He is our independence leader, and he quite literally says to the people around him, it is my turn to eat, mine. Read Duncan Degwa's book, and you will understand that Jomo Kenyatta wasn't playing when he said that. Thus, the accumulation of wealth around the Kenyatta family becomes more personal than it is about them and their friendships. I mean, obviously, there are some people who also benefit quite a bit. Then comes Moi. He is also around during the independence, but he doesn't quite have the clout that Jomo Kenyatta has. So what do? You build a political constituency of consensus around eating. Fuata nyayo. Expand the cake. Lots of people have written about how then public services, public land, etc. become now fair game for people in government, and this is across the board. Then comes the 1990s, the liberation. Actually, what happens during the Moi regime that's significant? People who are involved in academia, education, the arts, that is demonized, like roundly, elevating Moi over time to this deity, this political deity that cannot be questioned, the political giraffe. Remember that expression, right? You can see far. Anyhow, those children who were chased away, who became part of Kenya, the people who were beaten in the 80s and the 90s, they wrestled power from Moi, and 2002 happens. Mwai Kibaki is chosen as the leader. Then comes Michaela Wrong's expression, it's our turn to eat. Why? Because the people who are formerly in the opposition and formerly on the margins have recognized, hey, kuna mwanya hapa, let's do this thing. And thus you have Anglo-Lyceum, Triton, various scandals where people in government and some of them outside government, their cronies, now become part of this thing. And then 2007 happens. Why? Because there is a very important question that's asked by the public, obviously led by Raila Odinga, but by the public. How is it that you guys are eating to our exclusion? It's a very core question, and so powerful that it almost collapses the country. But you know what happens then? Handshake, something. We get to 2010, we get a constitution, and then we get to 2013. Now this is where things get interesting. Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto take power again. And what do you see as the attitude around public resources, public wealth and leadership? It is our right to it. Independent, independent. Primitive accumulation of wealth. Primitive accumulation of wealth. Refer to your entrepreneur starter packs. And debt to be able to finance that wealth, because there's only a limit that you can steal from the public, and thus we are now in the position that we are in. Now, what I think is happening, and why I referenced the young man's video at the beginning, was that in as much as there were things that went wrong, there were certain things that were done right, and he says this very powerful. He says,
Mulitusomesha and wanasema education is a very powerful equalizer. You fucked up when you took us to school.
And that is so true. Now people think that he's talking about schooling. I think, maybe I'm reaching here, but I think the education that he's talking about is the kind that allows him to question. Yes, I have education. Education is supposed to be the future. These are the things that I was told by my parents, by our leaders. You get a good education, you get a good job, you should be sorted. Why is it that I can't get a job? Why is it that even that education is being stolen from me? And why is it that when I try and raise my voice, I'm all stupid? Right? Now, another passage or piece of literature that would be important here to reference is the Allegory of the Cave by Plato. I'm not going to go into it, I'll spare you the details. But essentially, what we've had, now looking at the opposite end of the scale in terms of people who've questioned the status quo, is you have the Mau Mau, right? The Mau Mau deliver freedom, they know that it's for a specific purpose. They question why it is that land is being accumulated the way it is. What happens? Guys are unalived. Look at Baimungi Marete, and the Mau Mau becomes a proscribed group until 2003, right? Then you have the generation of people in academia, the Ngugi wa Thiong'os, and all of these people who then were creating literature and thinking around protest, around what leadership should become. What happens? They are expelled, they are driven underground. Then you have those people who come and become part of the political class. But what then happens? The allure of wealth is too tempting for them to be able to actually deliver the promises that they say. And now you have a generation of children who have been watching and learning. Watching and learning. A friend of mine put it to me brilliant. We always thought that the Gen Zs were watching, weren't interested in politics. But what might have been happening was that they were watching. They just didn't care, right? And now that they are awake, guys are surprised that, Allah, these guys have a political education that's far more astute than ours, and they are more creative than us in being able to deliver on the promises that they want, to force their hand. Now, it's still early days. Obviously, things can change, but you have to admire the full circle in which we've gone to this point. So, in closing, let's look at this moment as one of education and what the true meaning of education is, and perhaps the best kind of education that has brought us to this moment. Education through experience. It might not be in your history book, but because you lived it, you know it, and nobody can deny that what you're saying is true. Kwa hayo mengi na machache, stay safe.
Do you get the message, right? So the